Have you ever sensed an unsettling unease in someone's presence? A quiet instinct whispering that something is amiss, not because of what they explicitly say, but because of what they subtly omit or insincerely convey. It's that forced smile, that calculated kindness, that veiled scrutiny that feels like a predator sizing up its prey. You sense it, but you question your own perception, doubting the validity of your intuition. This stems from the fact that evil is rarely overt. It seldom arrives bearing a warning label or adorned with a villainous grin. More often than not, it cloaks itself in a mask of charm, generosity, even professed friendship. It doesn't strike with blatant, easily identifiable violence. Instead, it erodes slowly, methodically, insidiously, subtly chipping away at your self-worth, your judgment, your very sense of reality. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of resilience and inner strength, teaches us to safeguard our minds with the same vigilance we apply to protecting our homes. Just as we would never willingly welcome a thief into our abode, we must be equally resolute in preventing toxic individuals from taking root in our lives and corrupting our inner landscape. But how do we discern these individuals? How do we recognize them before their manipulative tendrils have wrapped themselves around our psyche? The truth is that evil, even when carefully concealed, inevitably leaves subtle yet unmistakable track for those who possess the knowledge to identify them. This essay will unveil 6 distinct red flags that expose those who seek to manipulate, deceive, and control. Recognizing these insidious signs is not merely about avoiding harm. It's about reclaiming your personal power, safeguarding your inner peace, and reaffirming your very sense of self. If protecting your mental and spiritual well-being is a paramount priority, then delve deeper into this exploration. By illuminating these deceptive tactics, we can cultivate the awareness necessary to erect robust defenses against those who seek to diminish and control us. The first red flag to heed is the eternal victim who always blames but never changes. Life, in its inherent unpredictability, inevitably throws curveballs our way, and hardship is an unavoidable aspect of the human experience. A strong, resilient individual meets adversity head-on, taking ownership of their choices, learning from their mistakes, and adapting to the trials and tribulations that life presents. But a manipulative, insidious person weaponizes their suffering, wearing it like a badge, not as a testament to their endurance or their capacity for growth, but as a tool for manipulation and emotional exploitation. To them, nothing is ever their fault. The world is inherently unfair. Other people are cruel and malicious, and the past has irrevocably wronged them. Excuses pile up like meticulously placed stones in a wall, shielding them from any semblance of accountability. They are not genuinely seeking solutions to their problems. Instead, they crave sympathy and attention, and even worse, they expect you to shoulder the weight of their burdens and responsibilities. In the initial stages of such a relationship, it may seem like mere self-pity, a temporary dip in spirits that warrants a compassionate ear and a supportive presence. You offer a listening ear, extend a helping hand, and provide words of encouragement, hoping to lift their spirits and guide them toward a more positive outlook. But no matter what you do, their struggles never fade. Instead, they multiply exponentially, like a hydra growing 2 heads for every one that is severed. Their misfortunes are always the most egregious, their suffering unparalleled, and their burdens the heaviest to bear. They drain your emotional energy, twisting your empathy into chains that bind you to their endless cycle of misery and despair. Should you dare to push back, establish a healthy boundary, hold them accountable for their actions, or refuse to indulge their self-serving narrative, they flip the script in an instant, transforming you into the villain of their story. Suddenly, you are the cruel one, the heartless individual who is incapable of understanding their unique and profound suffering. What began as your rightful defense becomes an unwarranted attack in their distorted perception, and before you know it, you're questioning yourself, wondering if you were too harsh, too selfish, or too insensitive to their plight. This is not merely manipulation. It is a slow, calculated erosion of your perception, a form of control disguised as helplessness. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we are fully responsible for our own responses. And when faced with someone who consistently refuses to take responsibility for their own life, the appropriate response is clear and decisive. Distance yourself. A person who never owns their actions will inevitably shift the burden onto you, leaving you to carry the weight of their unresolved issues and perpetual victimhood. Ask yourself, do you constantly excuse their behavior, rationalizing their shortcomings and minimizing the impact of their actions? Do you feel guilty for setting even the most basic boundaries, fearing that you will be perceived as selfish or uncaring? Have you become entangled in their endless problems, offering solutions and providing support, only to realize that they never seek genuine change, only attention and validation? If the answer to these questions is yes, then it's time to step back and reevaluate the dynamics of the relationship. You're not responsible for carrying someone who refuses to walk on their own 2 feet. You do not owe your peace of mind to those who thrive in chaos and negativity. A person who clings to victimhood at the expense of others is not just toxic. They are a danger to your well-being. Recognize the insidious pattern, refuse to be controlled by their false narrative, and most importantly, walk away with unwavering resolve. The second red flag to be aware of is the cold-hearted ones who feel nothing for you. If there is one defining trait that distinguishes the virtuous from the wicked, it is empathy, the ability to see another's struggle, to share in their joy, and to acknowledge their shared humanity. This is the bedrock of all meaningful relationships, the foundation upon which trust, compassion, and understanding are built. But an evil person lacks this fundamental capacity for empathy. They feel nothing, not for you, not for anyone. Their indifference is unsettling, a chilling void that permeates their interactions and leaves you feeling emotionally isolated and unseen. You could be drowning in sorrow, consumed by grief, or overwhelmed by despair, and they would stand there unmoved, their faces betraying no flicker of emotion or concern. If they acknowledge your pain at all, it is with cold detachment, offering a dismissive, well, life's unfair, or worse, turning the moment into something about themselves, as if your suffering is nothing more than an inconvenience to their own existence. Imagine experiencing a deep personal loss, the death of a loved one, a crushing professional failure, or a devastating heartbreak. You turn to them, hoping for understanding, for validation, for even the smallest gesture of kindness that might offer a modicum of comfort. But instead of empathy and support, you receive a blank stare, a shrug of indifference, or a dismissive, "it happens to everyone." In that moment, their lack of humanity is impossible to ignore, a stark and painful revelation that shatters any illusions you may have held about their capacity for connection. The Stoics teach us to master our emotions, to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity, and to remain steadfast in our pursuit of virtue. But they never confuse resilience with cruelty, nor do they advocate for the suppression of genuine human feeling. True strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to act with wisdom and compassion, even when confronted with hardship and suffering. Yet those devoid of empathy see kindness as weakness and apathy as a form of power. To them, people are not fellow human beings with inherent worth and dignity. They're merely tools, things to be used, discarded, or ignored when they are no longer deemed useful. Their emotional emptiness creates an oppressive presence, a chilling void that sucks the life out of any environment they inhabit. When you're around them, you don't feel seen, you feel invisible. You don't feel understood, you feel utterly alone. And that is precisely what they want, because isolation makes you easier to manipulate and control. But here's what you must remember. You are not small, and you are not invisible. If someone consistently dismisses your feelings, belittles your struggles, or treats your existence as insignificant, they're showing you their true nature. Believe them. A person without empathy is not simply emotionally distant or bad at expressing feelings. They are dangerous, because if they cannot care about your pain, they will have no hesitation in causing it. Recognize the warning signs, protect your spirit from their corrosive influence, and never waste your time searching for warmth in someone who has none to give. The absence of empathy is not just a flaw. It is a flashing red light signaling imminent danger. Walk away before their emptiness drains you too. The third red flag is the relentless critic who never sees your worth. There's a kind of poison that does not strike suddenly, but erodes you over time. Constant, unrelenting criticism. It doesn't come as blatant insults or open attacks, but as a slow, steady drip of negativity, carefully placed words, subtle jabs, and veiled observations that always highlight your flaws, but never acknowledge your strengths. An evil person will rarely, if ever, celebrate your victories. No matter how much effort you pour into something, no matter how much you grow and improve, it will never be enough in their eyes. If you succeed, they minimize your accomplishment. If you improve, they move the goalpost, setting an even higher standard that is perpetually out of reach. And if you dare to feel proud of yourself, they will be there to remind you of everything you could have done better, subtly undermining your confidence and sowing seeds of self-doubt. Picture this. You dedicate weeks to a challenging project, pushing yourself beyond your limits, sacrificing your time and energy to achieve your goals. You finally accomplish what you set out to do and eagerly share your success with someone close to you, hoping for a word of congratulations, a gesture of support, or simply a shared moment of joy. Their response, however, is a dismissive shrug, a flat, "That's good, but it's not that impressive." Or worse, they shift the conversation to themselves, making sure you know that they have done more, achieved greater, and always will. This is not constructive criticism, intended to help you improve. It is deliberate erosion, a calculated attempt to diminish your accomplishments and undermine your self-worth. A Stoic understands that external validation is fleeting, that true confidence must come from within. But even the strongest mind can be chipped away by constant negativity. Evil people know this. They don't want to see you thrive. They want to see you doubt yourself. They plant the seeds of insecurity, hoping they will take root and flourish until one day you begin to believe their voice more than your own, internalizing their criticisms and losing faith in your own abilities. The cruelest manifestation of this red flag is their need to constantly assert their intelligence, their superiority, and their perceived moral high ground, always positioning themselves above you, subtly reminding you of your perceived shortcomings. This isn't about helping you improve. It's about control, about making sure you never feel secure enough to outgrow them or threaten their position of dominance. But you must remember this. Their words do not define you. The Stoics teach us that our worth is measured not by the opinions of others, but by the integrity of our actions, the strength of our character, and the pursuit of virtue. If someone in your life constantly criticizes but never encourages, ask yourself, what do they gain from this? And more importantly, what are you losing by keeping them around? No one has the right to make you feel small. No one has the power to dictate your worth unless you give it to them. Recognize the pattern, guard your mind from their corrosive influence, and never let the insecurities of another become the chains that hold you back. Step away from those who only seek to diminish you. Your growth is yours alone, and no one else has the right to control it. The fourth red flag is the master manipulator who twists your reality. A mind shrouded in doubt is a mind that can be controlled. Evil people understand this principle well, and that's why they employ one of the most insidious forms of manipulation, gaslighting. They do not need chains or threats to exert power over you. Only a steady erosion of your confidence, a gradual dismantling of your trust in your own mind. At first, it seems harmless, almost innocuous. You express frustration, and they tell you you're overreacting. You recall an event differently, and they insist that it never happened that way. You bring up something hurtful they said, and they scoff, accusing you of being too sensitive. Each time, a subtle seed of doubt is planted, slowly undermining your perception of reality. You begin to second-guess yourself, wondering if you misunderstood, if you're being too emotional, if maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't them, but you. That is exactly what they want you to believe. A person who truly cares for you will listen, even if they disagree. They will respect your feelings, even if they do not share them. But an evil person does not seek understanding. They seek dominance. Their goal is not resolution, but control. The more you doubt yourself, the easier you are to manipulate. And the more you rely on them to define reality, the more power they hold over you. Picture this. You are in a disagreement, and you know you are right. You remember the conversation clearly, the exact words spoken, the specific context. But they insist otherwise. They twist details, rewrite events, and make you feel foolish for even bringing it up. Before long, you are no longer defending your point. You are defending your sanity, trying to convince them and yourself that you are not losing your grip on reality. The Stoics teach us to trust reason, to see things as they are, and to remain steadfast in what we know to be true. But gaslighting is designed to pull you away from the truth, to make you question even the most obvious realities. It is a slow, calculated war on your perception, turning your own mind into a battleground where you are forever on the defensive. Once you start seeking external validation for what you should already know, you hand over control of your thoughts, your emotions, your very sense of self. But here's what you must remember. If someone constantly makes you feel like you are the problem, if they dismiss your emotions, distort your memories, and turn every conversation into a game of doubt, take it as the warning it is. You do not owe loyalty to someone who poisons your sense of reality. Stand firm in your truth, trust your perception, and refuse to let them undermine your confidence. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting, and you do not need their permission to believe in your own reality. The fifth red flag is the chaos makers who thrive on conflict. Some people seek peace, while others seek power. And for the latter, there is no weapon more effective than conflict. While most of us navigate disagreements with the hope of resolution, seeking common ground, and striving for mutual understanding, there are those who thrive on division, who treat discord not as an unfortunate occurrence, but as a tool, one they wield with precision to manipulate and control those around them. To them, harmony is dull, cooperation is weakness, and peace is something to be shattered, not preserved. These people do not stumble into drama. They create it subtly, methodically, like a sculptor chiseling away at a masterpiece. They carve chaos out of calm, whispering a doubt here, casting a suggestive glance there, posing a question not out of curiosity, but to seed suspicion and fuel animosity. They are architects of strife, pulling the strings behind the scenes while appearing as mere bystanders to the unraveling tension they have so carefully orchestrated. A Stoic understands that conflict is often beyond our control. We cannot dictate the actions of others, but we can govern our own response. Yet there are those who do not seek resolution, but revel in the storm itself, feeding off the emotional turmoil and finding a perverse sense of satisfaction in the chaos they have created. They do not merely stir the pot. They feast on the wreckage, reveling in the discord and dysfunction they have unleashed. Consider the ways they operate. In a room full of laughter, they find the quiet insecurities that linger beneath the surface, and they feed them with subtle jabs and carefully crafted criticisms. At a family gathering, they casually mention an old grudge, reigniting tensions that had long been buried, stirring up resentment and animosity. In a group of friends, they sow doubt, suggesting that one person's motives may not be as pure as they seem, undermining trust and creating divisions. At first, their words may seem harmless, even innocent, but step back and you will see the pattern. The arguments they ignite, the friendships they fracture, the unease they leave behind like footprints in the sand. And the most telling sign, when the damage is done, they watch, slipping into the background, observing the unraveling chaos with an almost imperceptible satisfaction. While others scramble to make sense of the confusion and repair the damage, they remain untouched, as if they were never involved at all. Should you call them out on their behavior, they will feign innocence, offering a disingenuous, "I was just being honest," or "I didn't mean anything by it," or "Why is everyone overreacting?" They are masters of deflection, twisting the narrative so that the very people they have harmed begin to question themselves, wondering if they're being too sensitive or misinterpreting the situation. A Stoic is not easily provoked, but even the strongest mind can be tested when surrounded by relentless negativity and deliberately manufactured conflict. These conflict seekers understand that constant turmoil wears people down, leaving them exhausted, emotionally drained, and easier to manipulate. Their goal is not to win arguments, but to keep them going, creating a perpetual state of unrest that allows them to maintain control. They are not interested in resolution, only in the ongoing drama and the sense of power it affords them. But here's the truth. You do not have to play their game. You have the power to disengage, to protect your energy, and to refuse to be pulled into their storms. If someone in your life consistently fuels division, takes pleasure in watching others clash, or reacts to harmony with thinly veiled contempt, believe what they are showing you. Because the most dangerous aspect of these individuals is not just the conflict they create, it's their complete indifference to the suffering they cause. They do not see human connection as something sacred, something worth nurturing and protecting. They see it as a battlefield, a game, a source of amusement at the expense of others. As long as you remain within their reach, you will be a pawn in their game, a participant in their carefully orchestrated drama. So step back, protect your peace as fiercely as they seek to destroy it, and set boundaries that their manipulation cannot breach. A life spent in the orbit of such people is a life spent in needless struggle, trapped in battles that are not your own. As the Stoics remind us, we are the gatekeepers of our own mind. Choose carefully who you allow inside, and when necessary, choose to walk away with unwavering resolve. The sixth and final red flag is the deceiver who twists reality to control you. Truth is the foundation of trust. Without it, relationships collapse, reality blurs, and certainty fades. A virtuous person values honesty, knowing that the truth, however uncomfortable, is the only solid ground upon which real connection can stand. But an evil person has no such regard. They do not lie out of necessity. They lie because they want to. For them, deception is not merely a tactic, it is a way of life. They do not just bend the truth to avoid consequences. They twist reality itself, manipulating and controlling those around them. They lie to manipulate, to control, to test boundaries, and to maintain their position of power. At first, it may seem harmless, a small exaggeration, a conveniently altered detail. But soon, the pattern becomes clear. One moment, they tell you something with absolute certainty, only to deny it later, rewriting the past as if your memory is the problem, not their words. And if you push back, they shift the blame, accusing you of overreacting, imagining things, or being too sensitive. And so, the trap is set. Doubt creeps in, slowly eroding your confidence and undermining your perception of reality. Maybe I misheard, you wonder. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong. That's how they win. A true manipulator does not simply deceive. They reshape your perception, making you question your instincts and second-guess your reality. This is not just lying. It is gaslighting, a deliberate war on your clarity of thought. One moment, you stand firm in your understanding. The next, you are lost in a fog of confusion, unsure of what is real and what is not. This is by design. A confused mind is an easy mind to control. But the most unsettling sign is not just their deception. It is their lack of remorse. Watch how easily they fabricate stories, how smoothly they distort facts. They lie even when the truth would cost them nothing, simply because they can. To them, honesty is not a principle, but a tool, one to be discarded whenever it ceases to serve their agenda. A Stoic understands that clarity of mind is essential for a life of virtue. Truth anchors us, while deception erodes us. If someone in your life constantly manipulates the truth, they are not just dishonest, they are dangerous. Every conversation becomes a battlefield where the ground shifts beneath you, leaving you exhausted, unsure of what is real. And that is exactly what they want. But you do not have to play their game. If you find yourself constantly questioning your own perception around them, feeling uneasy as if something is always off, take it as the warning it is. Do not excuse it as a bad habit or a simple character flaw. A person who lies with ease will not hesitate to destroy your sense of reality. So step back, guard your mind, and most importantly, trust your instincts. Because an evil person will never give you the truth. It is up to you to see it for yourself. I know this can be a lot to process, and recognizing these red flags isn't always easy, especially when emotions are involved, when you've invested time, trust, and hope in someone. But awareness is power. The sooner you see the truth, the sooner you can protect yourself from years of manipulation, self-doubt, and pain. Evil rarely announces itself. It comes disguised as a friend, a partner, even family. It does not strike all at once, but erodes you piece by piece until you no longer recognize yourself. But here's what you must remember. You are not powerless. You do not owe your energy to those who drain you. The moment you recognize these patterns, you reclaim your choice to step back, to set boundaries, to walk away if necessary. Even if it's painful, even if it means letting go of someone you once trusted, know this. Your peace is worth more than their presence. This exploration of manipulative tactics serves as a critical step in reclaiming your emotional sovereignty and building a life grounded in authenticity and inner peace. However, recognizing these red flags is just the beginning of the journey. The real work lies in developing the resilience and self-awareness necessary to navigate these challenging relationships and protect yourself from further harm. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism can provide invaluable guidance. By embracing the core principles of Stoicism, you can cultivate a mindset of unwavering strength, emotional stability, and unwavering self-reliance, empowering you to navigate even the most toxic relationships with clarity, courage, and grace. The first step in applying Stoic principles to these situations is to accept what you cannot control. You cannot control the actions, thoughts, or feelings of others, including the manipulative behavior of the individuals you have identified. Trying to change them, to convince them to see the error of their ways, is a futile endeavor that will only lead to frustration and disappointment. What you can control, however, is your own response. You can choose how you react to their manipulation. You can set boundaries to protect your emotional well-being, and you can ultimately decide whether or not to continue the relationship. This is the essence of the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control, focusing your energy on what is within your power and accepting what is not. Another key Stoic principle is the practice of negative visualization, which involves contemplating the potential loss of what you value. This practice, rather than being morbid, helps you appreciate what you have and prepares you for inevitable challenges. In the context of manipulative relationships, negative visualization can help you accept the reality of the situation, acknowledge the damage caused by the manipulative individual, and prepare yourself for the emotional fallout of ending the relationship. By mentally rehearsing the possibility of loss, you can reduce your fear and anxiety, making it easier to take decisive action and break free from the cycle of abuse. Furthermore, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of virtue as the sole good. Virtue, in this context, refers to living in accordance with reason, justice, courage, and wisdom. By focusing on developing these virtues, you can cultivate a sense of inner worth that is independent of external validation. This is particularly important for those who have been subjected to manipulation, as their self-esteem has likely been eroded by the constant criticism and control. By prioritizing virtue and living in accordance with your values, you can reclaim your sense of self and build a foundation of genuine self-respect. Stoicism also encourages us to accept the present moment without judgment. This doesn't mean passively accepting abuse, but rather acknowledging the reality of the situation without getting caught up in anger, resentment, or regret. By accepting the present moment, you can focus your energy on taking constructive action to improve your situation, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. This acceptance also allows you to forgive yourself for any mistakes you may have made in the relationship, recognizing that you were likely manipulated and exploited. Finally, Stoicism provides a framework for managing your emotions, particularly negative emotions such as anger, fear, and sadness. Stoics believe that emotions are not inherently bad, but rather arise from our judgments and beliefs. By examining your beliefs and challenging those that are irrational or harmful, you can reduce the intensity and frequency of negative emotions. This is particularly helpful in dealing with the emotional fallout of manipulative relationships, as you may experience a range of intense emotions, including anger, grief, and shame. By applying Stoic principles, you can learn to manage these emotions in a healthy way, preventing them from overwhelming you and hindering your recovery. To put these Stoic principles into practice, consider the following strategies. Journaling. Regularly write down your thoughts and feelings, reflecting on your experiences and identifying patterns of manipulative behavior. This practice can help you gain clarity about your situation and challenge irrational beliefs. Mindfulness meditation. Practice mindfulness meditation to cultivate awareness of your thoughts and emotions without judgment. This can help you detach from the manipulative individual's influence and respond with greater clarity and calm. Setting boundaries. Clearly define your boundaries and communicate them assertively. Be prepared to enforce your boundaries, even if it means ending the relationship. Seeking support. Connect with trusted friends, family members, or a therapist who can provide support and guidance as you navigate these challenging relationships. Self-care. Prioritize self-care activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. This can include exercise, healthy eating, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies you enjoy. Practice gratitude. Focus on appreciating the good things in your life, even amidst difficult circumstances. This can help you cultivate a more positive outlook and build resilience. By consistently applying these Stoic principles and strategies, you can reclaim your emotional sovereignty, build a life grounded in authenticity, and protect yourself from the harmful effects of manipulative relationships. This is a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, and with each step you take, you will grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of navigating the complexities of human relationships with wisdom and grace. Remember, you are not alone. Many people have experienced the pain of manipulative relationships, and there is hope for healing and recovery. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and taking proactive steps to protect your well-being, you can create a life filled with authentic connection, inner peace, and unwavering self-love. In conclusion, spotting shadows, recognizing the red flags of manipulative behavior, is the first crucial step in reclaiming your inner fortress. But the true power lies in building that fortress, in cultivating the resilience and self-awareness necessary to navigate these challenging relationships and protect yourself from further harm. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism, you can develop a mindset of unwavering strength, emotional stability, and unwavering self-reliance, empowering you to live a life grounded in authenticity, inner peace, and genuine human connection. If this exploration of manipulative tactics and Stoic resilience resonated with you, reflect upon your own experiences and consider how these insights can be applied to your own life. Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below, and let us learn from each other's journeys. And remember, your inner peace is worth fighting for. Guard it fiercely, protect it with unwavering resolve, and trust yourself to navigate the shadows and emerge into the light.